A Twitter user just called out GameStop for scalping the newest Pokemon set, yet a few sentences later, the Twitter user exposes himself for practically participating in the exact thing he criticizes. Now, don't get me wrong, I know this news isn't the biggest out of everything going on lately within the Pokemon community or TCG community in general. One Piece is popping off, people are scalping, people are doing all sorts of crazy stuff, beating each other up in front of a Walmart and Target. I get that, but I can't resist indulging myself in a little Twitter drama, okay? And I thought this one was just absolutely hilarious because at first, when I was reading this tweet, I was absolutely agreeing with him. As you guys know, I'm a pretty staunch GameStop criticizer. I called them out multiple times in the past for being hypocritical, saying that people shouldn't indulge in these practices, acting as if they were the white knight of the Pokemon community, but yet they are pricing their products at almost scalper prices. Prices that even some standalone LGSs don't even put up. And it so happens that every time I make a GameStop video, it's often the most disliked videos for some reason. Like, I could criticize Leonhard 9 out of 10 times and they could have like a 95+ like to dislike ratio. But the moment I criticize GameStop in any sort of capacity, it goes down to like 85. It's the weirdest thing. Or like, do people really like GameStop that much? Do they have like a bunch of money invested in the GameStop stock or something? I really don't know. But regardless, I was agreeing with this person calling out GameStop for scalping the newest Pokemon set. But once I read a little bit more, it was the craziest 180 I've ever seen in my life. So we have a username on Twitter named FlipFlip. As you guys see, it's 64,000 views and only 44 likes. That tells you a lot before I even get into the replies. And as you see right here, there's a lot of replies, and practically every single one is ratioing him. But anyway, let's get into what he says right here. He says, GameStop has completely lost their minds. True. Selling Ascended Heroes ETB cases for $1,400. You see right here, he is telling the truth. They are selling it for $1,400. Oh, $1,330 if you're a pro member. Which again, probably costs like $30 every single month, so you're not really saving that much money. $130 ETB plus shipping. Obviously, shipping is probably going to be free in this case. I'm pretty sure GameStop does offer free shipping if it's over 100. I could be wrong. However, $130 per ETB is still absolutely diabolical. And until this point, I was completely agreeing with him. Then he went on and said this. For context, I purchased over 50+ Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs of Ascended Heroes for $59 each. Is anyone actually paying that to a retailer? Now, I'm no freaking detective here, but 50 Elite Trainer boxes? That seems a little excessive. That is a little bit odd, considering the fact that the Ascended Heroes Elite Trainer booster boxes, the Pokemon Center exclusive ones, only have a limit of 2 per person. Now the question remains, how was he able to acquire 50+ of these Ascended Heroes ETBs? Some might say, hey, maybe he got in really early within the Pokemon line. Maybe he purchased 2 and right away he purchased another one. From my experience and from others' experience online, that is physically impossible. Now, at one point, this was possible. A person could, purchase an ETB, even though it's a limit of 2, and then right away purchase another set of 2 on a separate order. However, that was only previous sets. That was before Pokemon Center decided to actually change their system, their website, and how people are able to acquire product. That means most likely this person was utilizing bots. He was utilizing them to purchase a mass amount of Elite Trainer boxes. And if you are using bots, the only logical extrapolation from that would be his intention would be reselling these ETBs. Or for a more concrete and accurate term, it would be scalping. If you see a person in Target with a full cart of Pokemon product, probably thousands of dollars worth of product, you could logically assume that his intentions are to probably resell or scalp that product. If a person is just standing in line, gets 2 products of the newest set and walks out, that's not enough evidence for me to assume that he is trying to scalp that product. There has to be some evidence to suggest a person's intentions, a person's thought process. And if you don't do that, well, you're practically going off of nothing. You're going off of your own emotions. So in this case, you have a website such as Pokemon Center that is very hard to actually get the newest product from. They IP block you most of the time. You're not allowed to reorder the same exact product. And yet, somehow, this person managed to get 50 plus Elite Trainer boxes. That is very interesting. But let's just assume my whole entire deduction of the situation is completely inaccurate. Somehow this person was doing everything in the legitimate way. He just went on the Pokemon Center. There was some sort of glitch. Somehow he was able to bypass the reordering function. He didn't use bots. He did everything in the legitimate channels. I would pose this question. Would a genuine collector whose intentions is not to resell or scalp the product in any sort of capacity, would he buy 50 plus Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes? You could make the argument that you have some whales, some collectors that have a lot of money and they just want to, blow it all. But if we were to generalize it, I would say 9 out of 10 times people that are buying 50 plus Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes through Pokemon Center are trying to scalp it. I'm sure there has to be some sort of exception. However, an exception does not make the rule. The intention for me is very obvious. And again, highlighting the fact that it's quite hard to reorder another set of 2 Pokemon Elite Trainer boxes in this day and age because they have some sort of system in place to prevent that. It is quite obvious that this person probably used some bots as well. In my personal opinion, all the points on the graph are headed in that direction. So this person is an absolute hypocrite. Let's look at some of the comments right here. This is from a Pokemon account that practically alerts people when a new drop occurs on Best Buy, Target, any sort of online platform that sells Pokemon cards. And he says, clown ass comment, grinding for attention on Twitter won't make up for the disappointment your family feels when they remember you. Wow. I wouldn't go that far. He really went personal with that. I mean, shit is not that serious. He is a hypocrite, but it's not that serious, but it's still kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. Being mad about Gamestop scalping and then admitting you botted to also scalp, we all know it, is some wild behavior. For context, I botted 50 PC ETBs. I'm selling at 8 times the cost. It's crazy. Something about a pot calling a kettle black. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just wanted to cover something a little bit more lighthearted. There's a lot of more important stuff going on in the Pokemon community, I know, and maybe this isn't the news that you were most looking forward to me covering. However, I just love small little situations like this to poke fun of. So I hope you guys ultimately enjoyed it as well. Have a nice day, everyone, and I'll see you later, weebs.